teaching. Every post, every upload, every word reaching. Either building up souls or the whole thing leeching. What you stream preaching? What you stream? Tell me what your vibe feeding. God gave gifts, better watch how you lead with it. Mainline flow, yeah, the kingdom still breathing. Hey. Yeah, every time I hit go live, heaven watching me. Every camera got a purpose, ain't no stopping me. Used to think content was just jokes and popularity. Now I understand spiritually, there's accountability. What you upload, what you speak about, what type of energy your whole page leak about. Cause people sick mentally, spiritually bleeding out. And your platform might be the thing they receive from now. Some stream lust, some stream drama, some stream violence, confusion, trauma. Some stream death to the youth for commas. Whole generation lost inside the comments. But I ain't trying to preach fake perfect behavior. I'm just saying every platform need a savior. Cause algorithms train minds and shape nature. And influence nowadays bigger than when they drink preaching. Tell me what you live teaching. Every post, every upload, every word reaching.
Hey, welcome to RRBT Tuesdays. Hey, look at, we got a good one today. We got a good one today, man. I like the topic question today. I really hope that you guys been following our happy and seeing, you know, some of the engagement, man. And we're gonna address some of them answers today. Yes, sir.
Kingdom-minded artists building collaborations. Submit your music testimony revelation. Blues, reds, different styles, same foundation. Still shouting God innovation. Cause the spirit's still moving through creation. Bless them, Lord, that internet, real estate, digital property, ownership, build a gate. Everybody online, but they moving too late. Still renting attention instead of building they space. Mainline Music Academy on school. Teach creators how to build and use tools. Not just viral trends trying to look cool, but content with purpose and structure too. Global watching patterns in the ecosystem. Tracking engagement while the creators build wisdom. Not replacing humans, just assisting the vision. Kingdom infrastructure with intentional rhythm. Cause heaven got orders, so we move strategic. Not just emotion.
Man, it got super lag, y'all. I gotta, let me see.
Somebody out there really needing.
Okay, look like we might be good. We gonna get through this, man. We got a good one today. Man. And I'm excited, you know what I mean, to get into this. You know, but this right here, man, this is Reverend Dolce. What's your stream preaching, man? You guys can find this music on any platform, and just type in Reverend Dolce. I mean, it's a lot of good music out there. Make sure that y'all tap in. But you know, I am your streaming behavior technician, man. Yes, sir. We got a good one. We gonna get into this. Let's get into it. Let's turn this music down. And let's get into it, man. We know what we're preaching, man. We talking behavior right now. We talking reinforcement. We talking behavior. We talking about what keeps one motivated to learn. You know what's best for our learners. All right. There it is. This technical work, you know, in the background, you know. Hey, I had somebody call and say, man, you like a one-man army, you know. But we gonna get into it, you know. Like I said, we got a good one today, man. We gonna be talking about they earned it. Let me check and see, man. Let me make sure that my the voice is not too loud. So let me turn this down real quick. There we go. All right. Let me get a sound check real quick. You know what I mean? Hey, if I'm sounding good in the chat, man, somebody let me know, man. Hey, you sounding good. The audio level. Before we get to this, I want you guys to be able to get this and hear this clearly, because this is a good one right here. You know, as we're starting this episode, we are in episode 2. Man, I hope you guys have the time to catch episode 1. Episode 1, we talked about, do you prefer in-clinic ABA or in-home ABA, and your reasons why. You know, so let me do a real quick sound check real quick. I want us to be sounding good. I want us to be looking good, and making sure that we're putting that bip down. Bip life. Man, somebody type bip life in the chat. Bip life. Bip life in the chat, man. Can I get bip life in the chat? Hold on. Are we even live? Are we even live, y'all? Let me see. We got them. Are we even live, y'all? Give me one second. We gonna get it right. We gonna get it right in 1 second, cause and shout out to each and every last one of you guys that's out there living that bib life. Before I get into it, I just want to make sure that we are actually live. All right, look it. We are live. I had to check that. You know what I mean? Y'all forgive me. Sometimes I be having so many things going in the background, but this is our RBT Tuesdays, and I want to check something. We are good, y'all. We are good to get this thing rolling. We are good to get this thing rolling, man. Look at, I am your streaming behavior technician. And today, you know, as I've been saying, we have a good one. I want to, you know, touch upon a few things. Want to, you know, definitely, you know, leave the floor open, which we do throughout the week, man. This is what makes great discussion. This is what actually makes great discussions. This is what sharpens, you know, our craft. This is what sharpens, you know, the field. This is what keeps the RBTs and the learners, you know, the BCBAs as a collective completely motivated, inspired, you know, and educated. You know, iron sharpens iron, each one teach one. You know, so as you guys see it up on the stream, this is our RRBT Tuesdays. This is episode 2. You know, the question is, they earned it. So why are we making them wait? You know, they earned the reinforcement. Why are we making them wait? And there are some different perspectives, you know, on this right here, which can be looked at, you know, especially one, you know, off top. Let me put it into you guys' head, especially for those, you know, who are a little bit more seasoned, you know, in the field. It could be something that's being probed and it's at a baseline. So, you know, when you see it, just understand that's why, you know, communication is definitely, it is key. It is key in these situations. But let's get into it, right? So, first of all, let me welcome everybody, you know, to RRBT Tuesdays. This is episode 2. And if this is your first time here, come on in, hit that follow button, hit subscribe, and most importantly, make sure that you get active in the chat, because tonight, I got a question. If a kiddo, if he does the work, if she does the work, they complete the task, they earn the reinforcement, and then we tell them, wait. Now, hold on. They just did what we asked them to do. They just did what we asked them to do. So the question is, if they earned it, why are we making them wait? You know, you gotta think, there's a lot of scenarios that pretty much comes into play when this question is being asked. So this is something that makes a great discussion. Are we teaching tolerance? Are we building a real life skill? Are we changing the deal after the learner already did their part? I want everybody involved tonight. You know, type your level in the chat. Type exactly where you are at in the chat. Are you a tadpole? You know, are you a tadpole? Just a BT? You know, you haven't quite became registered. You know, you're a behavior technician. Or are you have already took that leap to the next level and you're a tree frog? That means you're registered. You're a registered behavior technician, you know, or from BT to RBT, have you took that leap to become a bullfrog, somebody who's a trainee, you know, supervision student, you know, behavior analyst students, you know, in one way that is called, or have you took that master leap and became an actual board certified behavior analyst? You know, also welcome parents. Parents is welcome in this. Educators, you guys are welcome in the chat. You know, if you're an advocate for autism, you are definitely welcome in the chat. You know, let me know who is actually in the building. So look, what we gonna do is, let me pull up the chat right now so we can actually see. So here's a scenario right here, right? Here is the scenario. The learner, we tell the learner, first complete these 3 responses, then you'll get the tablet. So we're using first and then statements. First complete the first complete. I'm sorry, I got a phone call right now, but I gotta push you through, right? So look, at first complete these 3 responses and then you get the tablet. Pretty clear, right? You know, pretty clear. So the learner, they complete the responses. Number 1. Oh, let me turn this music down right here. Let me turn this music. This is one right here that we're gonna have to We're gonna get through it, y'all. We muscling through it. So look it. Let me go ahead and put this out there, put the scenario out there, right? So the scenario is to complete 3 tasks, and then you get the tablet. Can anybody in the chat, can you tell me what is this called? First and then, when we're using first and then statements, what is it called? Pretty clear, right? So the learner completes the response number 1. Response number 2 completes it. Response number 3, they completed. So they did it. Now they reach for the tablet and we say, wait, you have to wait. So wait 10 more seconds, even though it's not really that much of a time that we're putting on there that they have to wait, but we're put a delay on there. So my question is simple. Was waiting part of the original contingency? Because if it wasn't, what exactly just happened? What just happened? Chat, I need in the chat. Let me turn this down. It's a little loud in my ear, but I need that in my ear. I'm gonna have to figure out, do I want music or I don't want music? You know. Actually, I'm gonna put this down. I think this was a little bit getting to me a little bit, right? So anyway, so look it. Anyway, that way I can actually find my voice, right? So in the chat, look. Option A is, do you give the tablet? Option B is, do we make them wait? Or C, does it depend? Let's make sure we put that in the chat. Let's put it in the chat. And let me see what you guys' responses is. Checking the chat with comments on that. Let me see. So, hey, look, real quick, right? I put the link to this on the comment section. That way we can see it actually on the screen. Everybody can see it. You see it. Real quick, y'all. Real quick. Y'all gonna bear with me. We're doing something new here, but we're getting through it. And look at it. We're getting through it. We are getting through it. Something real quick. Real quick. I just want to see them real quick, y'all. Okay. 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 All right, let me see real quick. All right, real quick, y'all. Y'all bear with me as we get through this. As we get through this. In a minute, I'm gonna be ripping through this stuff. I'm telling y'all. All right. Okay. So that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. That right. Right there. All right, that's what I want to see right there, right? Okay. Let me get back. Let me pull my programmer. Pull my programmer back up. All right, so look, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all what we about to do. I don't know if you guys ever been to a show, a live recording show, what happens is sometimes in a live recording show, there are a lot of do-overs. You know, I've been on the set, on the cast of a lot of, you know, different productions and stuff like that. And I had the, you know, the honor, you know, I was actually blessed to be able to see, you know, a lot of live tapes and a lot of live shows. And, you know, part of that is you have to, you know, deal with actually doing some of the do-overs. But the key thing about that is you get to see some of the bloopers, and you see some of the bloopers live, and you know, some of the audience, you know, moments and stuff like that. So we're going to use this right now, you know, as, hey, we're going to start this thing all the way over, and we going to get to it, you know, we going to get to it. I feel like this is always key, you know, especially when you're starting something and you're passionate about it. And, you know, I want to be able to give the best production out there while doing so. So let's go ahead and get back into it. All right. So look it. Welcome to RRBT Tuesdays. This is episode 2. The question, you know, of the day is that they earned it. So why are we making them wait? They earned it. So why are we making them wait? So check it out, everybody. Let me go ahead and introduce myself to you guys. I am Kenneth Globe, you know, on the floor. I am known as Mr. Kenny. You know, I've been RBT for close to a little over 2 years. And just like to welcome you guys to the chat. You know, if this is your first time here, come on in, hit that follow button, hit subscribe, and most importantly, hey, get active in the chat, because tonight I got a question, right? So the question is, if a kiddo does the work, they complete the task, they earn the reinforcement, and then we tell them, wait. Now, hold on. They just did what we asked them to do. So tonight, this is where my question actually arises. If they earned it, why are we making them wait? There are a few different scenarios that can come into play when it comes to delayed, you know, reinforcement, and how this can be implemented into the BIP. Though, you know, this is why this is making a great discussions, because I want you guys to be able to, you know, hone in on some of the experiences that you guys have had in the field, at which level you are at with this question in the field, and, you know, some of the different, putting y'all input on it. Like, are we teaching tolerance? Are we teaching tolerance? Are we building a real life skill here? Or are we changing the deal after the learner already had done their part? So look here, I want everybody, you know, to definitely get active in the chat and type your level, you know, where you are. If you are just a tadpole, a BT, a behavior technician, if you are a tree frog, you know, you already are a registered behavior technician, or if you are a bullfrog, meaning that you have took that leap, you know, to take this field a little bit more serious, and you are now a supervisee, a trainee, a behavior student analyst, you know, your behavior student analyst, or have you took that master leap and you are now, you know, a actual board certified behavior analyst? Everybody's welcome in the chat. You know, parents, you guys are certainly welcome. Educators, you guys are definitely welcome. And if you are someone who advocates for autism, we definitely welcome you here, you know, in the chat on our double RBT Tuesdays. Please let me know who's in the building. Let's move on to our next set. This is where we lay out the scenario. So look here. All right, here's the scenario. We tell the learner, hey, first complete these 3 responses, then you'll get the tablet. Pretty clear, right? The learner completes the response number 1, completes response number 2, and then they complete response number 3. They did it. Now they reach for the tablet, and we say, hey, wait, 10 more seconds. Please just wait 10 more seconds. You know, we're delaying the reinforcement right now. This is why the question pretty much has came up, because, you know, I've experienced things in my time in ABA. So, you know, certain things, you know, this is what makes a good, well-seasoned registered behavior technician, when you start having questions, and this kind of incites your interest here. So we have to look at it. Was waiting actually part of the original contingency? Very important right there. That is so important, because if it wasn't, what exactly just happened? Look at chat. I need you guys to I'm gonna give 3 different options, and let me know how you feeling with it. What do you do? A, after the learner has completed the task, you delivered the SD, do you immediately give the tablet? B, do you make them wait? Or C, it depends. Make sure that you drop that in the chat, and let's move on to the next. So the big question here is this. This is where the big question is right here. Are we teaching tolerance, or are we changing the deal after the learner has already done their part? Are we, let's be honest, are we changing the deal? Because those are not automatically the same thing. If I told you, do this, then you'll get that, and you do it, but then I add another requirement and think that it's fair to ask. I think that's fair to ask. If I deliver, the SD, the learner did exactly what I told them to do, and then instead of immediately reinforcing at that moment, I add in, a waiting target, and then I say, then you'll get the reinforcement. This is why we have to look at this. So did we just move the finish line? Did we just say, okay, the finish line is here, this is when you immediately get reinforced after the learner just did what we asked them to do, and then we say, hey, then we kind of skip the finish line. Now, listen, this is what I want you guys to understand, right? This is why I say there are levels, and you have to trust me, you guys, especially if you are a behavior technician or you are registered. Communication is key with your BCBAs, because a lot of the times, I'll be honest with you, we don't know exactly what the BCBAs are pinpointing with their programming at that point. So proper communication actually helps a healthy development, of the learner and some of the opportunities, and us understanding, the why. So in the moments, I'm gonna be honest with you, we might not understand exactly what the BCBA is doing at that time, but being, a good RBT, even though if you do have that question, I would advise that you do it. And then if you do have a question about what it is that you just did, then I would, take that question down, and I would write it, and then I would take it to the BCBA and say, hey, this kind of like shocked my interest right here when this take place. But let's move forward with this lesson. So it doesn't automatically mean that, waiting is wrong. Waiting can absolutely be an important skill, but what was actually programmed? Was this communicated? Was it systematic? Or did we decide in that moment that the learner should just wait? That's the big question. Did we just all of a sudden in that moment say, hey, something clicked in our mind, and we said, you know what? Instead of just immediately reinforcing right now, we are going to have the learner to wait. All right, so let me know. I want to hear from you guys. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Make sure that we're getting active in the chat. How do you see it? Let me know where you're at and tell me why. How do you see it? A, do you give it immediately? B, do you make them wait? C, it depends. Tell me why. Tell me why, you guys are agreeing or feeling, some of the answers right there. And I'm telling you, I would love to hear, from you guys in the chat, have this discussion as we begin to, sharpen ourselves and we take them leaps. Taking them leaps, that's what it is, man. Can I get a ribbit in the chat? Can I get a ribbit? That's what it is. Can I get a ribbit in the chat, man? Ribbit culture, man. Double RBT. So let's move to the next slide. So waiting matters. Moving the finish line potentially may not. So let me give you guys my perspective, and I absolutely believe waiting matters. We wait every day. We wait for food. We wait in lines. We wait for people to finish conversations. We wait for preferred items. We wait for our turn. We wait for a lot of different things. So I'm not against teaching tolerance, not at all, not by far, not by any means. But I am cautious about moving the finish line after somebody already completed the response requirement. To me, there is a difference between systematically teaching waiting and randomly making a kiddo wait because we can. This is where I stand on this, because look it, there is a difference between systematically teaching tolerance and randomly making a kiddo wait because we can, especially when it comes to teaching the kiddo to stay highly motivated for whatever that reinforcer is at that time. We don't want to find ourselves in a position where we do have reinforcement power, and then because of certain things that we're doing, or we get busy, or we get preoccupied in a thought, and then what that does is it reduces the learner's motivation, especially for that reinforcer. And quite frankly, we might find ourselves in a situation where we might not find something else that just might be a little bit more reinforcing to the kiddo, the learner in that day that's in our environment. So we got to be very strategic and tactful of some of the things that we are doing when it comes to us implementing the bit, staying the highest level of reinforcement, especially being the behavior technician. So let's go to our next slide. And make sure that y'all getting active in the chat with me. Come on, I'm telling you, this is getting good. This is gonna be great. I'm telling you. So look, like I said, guys, let me know where you stand. Whether you're a new BT, which is our tadpoles, and you're taking that leap to being a tree frog. And if you are an RBT and you're taking that leap to become a bullfrog, BCBA candidates, you have signed that contract to be supervised, and you're taking that leap to become that frog master. You have high interest in becoming, a BCBA. So look, like I said, I want to hear from you guys because each and every single last voice, it does matter. So real quick, this is where I want us to separate the two different ideas. Number one, reinforcement. And then number two, actually teaching delayed tolerance. They can interact. They both, can, merge into, one complete teaching moment. And it could be, very good for the learner depending on what's been taught and the key thing, why it's been taught. But we have to look at this, and where we have to separate it, are they automatically the same target? Is this automatically the same target? If I'm teaching a new skill and strengthening a response, then the timing of reinforcement, it highly matters. Let me say that again. If I'm teaching a new skill and I'm strengthening a response, the timing of reinforcement is so important, guys. If I'm specifically teaching waiting, then yes, some form of delay may be part of that program. And this is why it gets real tricky, especially when it comes to reinforcement. But we have to be very detailed and attentive to the BIP. This is what the program is created by the behavior, by the analyst, for that child to be set up for success. And sometimes, let's give an example, right? This is kind of like one of the best examples, in this is kind of like, I would say, like using a token economy, right? So like when you're using a token economy, but it's the child is getting reinforcement, but that high reinforcement is coming after they went through a certain amount of trials and they was able to, wait and be brought to that point where they can get that highest level of reinforcement. But where this actually helped in real life is like, say a kid is doing real good at the house and dad tells them, hey, I'll take you to Walgreens to get you that toy that you've been asking for. But the delay where the kid been doing real good in the house, but it's going to be a process and a time where they're going to have to understand waiting and tolerance, because just think of the travel time is that it's going to take to get there. So if that kid, is always just waiting and expecting, to get immediate, reinforcement immediately, then we're not thinking from a logical sense. So that's why I say it depends on what we're actually teaching in that moment. So, it depends on what we're actually, teaching in that moment. So let's go to our next slide. We're moving right through this, y'all. So this right here, tadpoles. Now look here. Now, for my bullfrogs, my frog masters, let's get into some of the concepts behind this conversation. We can talk about reinforcement immediacy, delayed reinforcement, discriminative stimuli, schedule thinning, which is, all part of it, tolerance training, functional communication, treatment integrity, predictability. These are some things that we can definitely, start looking at it once you have them levels of understanding, you understanding them terms, and you've been very well seasoned in the field of ABA. Individualized programming, and of course, generalization. This is why, a simple word like wait can become a much bigger clinical conversation, because I don't want to just know what somebody did. I want to know what they did, how did they do it, and what behaviors were being targeted, and what's the data is telling us that is actually working. Very important, guys. It's very important. Tadpoles, look. Let's take, to you guys real quick, right? In the beginning, what were you taught about delivering reinforcement? I want to make sure there's any confused faces. I want to make sure that you guys understand exactly that, once you begin to take them leaps and you begin to become a little bit more seasoned in, some of the information, of ABA and how ABA, works, then you'll be a little bit more calmed in the why when you start to see like, well, I was taught this way, and now I'm seeing quite few of some changes here, so now, and that's why we're having this. That's why we're having this discussion. All right. So there's levels. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So different levels, different perspectives. That's what it is. So, tree frogs. Tree frogs. Have you ever been told to make a learner wait after they've earned it? What happened? So, me, I can address this. You know, I've been in a situation where, and like, you know, in peer supervision, I'm in supervision right now. And like I said in the beginning, you know, I advise for you guys to do what the BCBA is telling you to do in that moment, because sometimes, you know, they're adjusting, you know, information, they're seeing things and they're, you know, targeting things and they're taking notes. And in the moment, it's like baseline probing in that moment, and they want to see what the response is. And this is very important. You know, I can share this with you guys, you know, real quick, is that before a behavior analyst writes something of a program, they have to observe something first. So before they can even begin to start writing out, you know, intervention plans and stuff like that, they have to observe. And we're not talking about just the inner observer agreement. We're talking about eyes on there, seeing it, you know. Now I can start, you know, looking at the inner observer agreement, start looking at, you know, what the RBTs is, you know, saying. And now at that point is where they can start revising the BIP. So in that moment, I'm like, wait a minute, you know, I'm thinking I need to immediately just reinforce right now, because the learner just did what was told to do. And the way that I've been taught, you know, to reinforce, this is something that, you know, it shook me up. But, you know, this is why it's important to do, because even when you sit back and you think about it, you be like, oh, okay, I do remember that sometimes, you know, in that moment, things may, you know, differ, you know, in that moment, especially depending on what's being programmed, what's being looked at, you know, changes, seeing, you know, data and stuff like that. So, like I said, you know, RBTs, man, definitely let me get you guys' perspective on it, because it makes a great discussion, and it helps us be a little bit more sharper in our crafts as we're delivering good quality therapy. And I get good quality therapy in the chat. So this is exactly why I created, you know, the double RBT level system. True. Everybody in this conversation is not at the same place, and that's okay. Our tadpoles may see in one way, our tree frogs may have a direct field experience, and our bullfrogs may begin analyzing the contingencies differently. And our frog masters may look at assessments, programs, ethics, supervisions, different levels, different perspectives, one mission. So now, like I said, I want to hear from each and every single last one of you guys in the chat. Post, chat, where you at? Where's your level? Are you tadpole? Are you a tree frog? Are you a bullfrog? You know, or have you took that final leap? You know, and you're a master frog. So, now, tadpoles, look, this one right here is for you. All right, tadpoles, this is for you. I know we got bullfrog right here up on the screen. Oh, I see what's going on. Let's put this where this belongs, so we can see it for what it is. I see what's going on. I see what's going on, y'all. But guess what? We're getting it right. We're getting it together. Tadpoles, look. Let's see. Should I just, oh. I can't just pull that part. No. So I have to let it go all the way through. Okay. I think I know what I did. But look at tab post. Let me put this up on the screen, for you guys real quick, so we can look at it as we're moving forward. All right. So tab post. What were you taught? About delivering reinforcement when you first entered the field, right? Reinforce immediately. I'm pretty sure that's some of the things that you guys were taught, upon entry of the field. Reinforce immediately. Have you ever had one person tell you to deliver reinforcement quickly, and then another person tell you no? Make them wait. And did anybody explain the difference? Tab post, your question matters, okay? Because sometimes the newest person asks the questions everybody else stop asking. So this is why, like I said, this is what makes great discussion. This is what keeps us all motivated, keeps us all accountable. Okay, making sure, can we get quality therapy in the chat? Quality therapy in the chat. All right. So, all right, so tree frogs, right? Tree frogs. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let me make sure my I felt that. I don't know what's. No, hold on, y'all. Let me get back to the instrumental, y'all. It went crazy. All right, so look here, tree frogs. Take this off. Have you ever been told to make a learner wait after they've earned it? Have this actually ever even have this happened to you? Have you been instructed to delay reinforcement after the learner has met the response requirement? Did you understand the rationale? Did you understand the reason why, the rationale? Did you understand? Was it written in the program where you can see it, you can observe it? That way you can start collecting your thoughts up on it and it start making, just automatic sense. Was it written in the program? What happened when the delay was introduced? Did the behavior remain stable? Did problem behavior increase? Did the learner successfully build tolerance? I want a real field perspective. I really want, some real life experiences, some things that you guys have actually experienced in the field, and why, and then how did you deal with it, especially pertaining to, did the behavior increase? Did the learner successfully build tolerance? Want to know? Let's talk about it. And so bullfrogs. Supervision students, behavior analyst students. So, bullfrog. Now, I want y'all to analyze, and I want y'all analyzing what was the established response requirement, what consequences was actually signaled if another response requirement gets inserted after completion. How do you analyze this? How do you analyze that? How would you operationally define waiting? What would successful waiting look like? 5 seconds without aggression, 10 seconds without grabbing, remaining within a defined area, using functional communication. If we say we're teaching tolerance, what exactly are we measuring? Because it counts especially to how the program is being read, depending on the targeted behavior that we are trying to reduce in that moment. You know, it's a small window. We talk about a target. You look at a target and the bullseye. We're trying to hit the bullseye. The target might be real big, but we're trying to hit that bullseye, you know, and we have to look at things from a lot of different perspectives in order to see that the learner is set up for success. All right, so Frog Masters. These is our BCBAs, our supervisors, our experienced clinicians. Hey, we want to hear from you guys. What would you program this? You know, would you actually program a delayed reinforcement? And if yes, what are the prerequisites? What prerequisite skills would you consider? How would you choose the initial delay? Would you use a timer? Would it be something that's visual? A wait card? Would it be a countdown? How would you thin the schedule? What is the data telling you? You know, how are you coming to this conclusion of how you're trying to insert this into the program where the RBT can understand it and your learner can be set up for success? So, being that everything's based up off of data-driven decisions, is how a lot of the intervention plans, most of them are actually, everything is written, you know, off of data-driven decisions. The data tells us this, so you know, this is what we do. So move forward, right? Let's move forward. So yeah, you guys tell me. You guys, BCBAs, you know, tell me. I want to know, especially, you know, different perspectives in this. So all right, so let's look at this right now from real life generalization. Does it match real world delays? Because everything that we're doing, it has to be generalized, transferred into a situation where it is taught as a life skill to help the learner be set up for success as they grow into, you know, their into the next stages of life. You know, sometimes during early intervention, it goes more into the adolescence into, you know, adulthood, depending on what the target is. And we're looking at that bullseye. So real life generalization. Should tolerance training resemble real life? So now let's connect this to real life. Should tolerance training resemble the delays that the learner actually experiences? You know, at home, right? At home, waiting for the food to heat up, right? So the learner has to understand waiting, because I understand you want this food, but I have to give it to you warm. So we have to put it in the microwave, you know, and go through that. Waiting, big one. Sometimes mom and dad is just busy at home. So in the home, mom and dad's busy. Waiting for a sibling to finish with something, you know, a toy, teaching, you know, sharing, tolerance, especially that's real big, because, you know, a lot of kids, mine's right now. I want it right now. They say, it's my toy and I want it now. You know, but in clinic, right? So in clinic, waiting for a turn. waiting during transitions. Like we can go to where you would like to go to, but before we transition, we're going to need to wait. Sometimes it's the first in the den, putting that pre-mac principle down first. We can transition to where you are motivated to go, but it's going to be some tolerance that's going to need to be implemented. And then this is why we're looking at it from a generalized state to where it can be transferred into, different homes to clinics, to actually into the community, looked at from, is this actually teaching, real world delays? Sometimes we have to wait for, group activities. Let's look at it from in the community. So in the community, what are some of the places that we're waiting? We're waiting in the community. Where are we waiting? We're waiting in line. We're waiting at the restaurant. we're waiting at the restaurant. We're waiting at the doctor's office. So my question, it becomes, are we teaching meaningful tolerance connected to real life, or are we creating arbitrary delays simply because waiting appears on the program and we don't really understand why it's there? So tolerance should prepare a learner for life, not just prepare them to tolerate us, or really not just to tolerate us, or because we have the ability to say, hey, we get to hold your reinforcement right now. It wouldn't be fair. So all right, once wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. So, all right. So we are getting ready to be in this out, but we got a few more clips. We got about 2-3 more clips that we're going to get through. So, community challenge, right? So here's a double RBT community challenge right here. Let's think about one procedure you implement regularly. Don't attack it. Just think about it, nicely. Hey, don't undermine it. Don't give too much, thought into it. But don't undermine your supervisor. Don't go rogue. Just ask yourself, what behavior is this designed to change? What is the actual contingency? How are we measuring the progress? What would tell us that is actually working? Because I believe there is a difference between simply doing procedures and understanding the behavior analyst. So when I say, don't go rogue, don't attack it. Don't say, well, I would do this. I got to understand, our BCBAs have worked very hard in their profession, to give the best therapy possible. So remember, there just might be some things we may not understand in that moment. And this is why communication is key. It's key. So let's go to, so we're closing, y'all. We are in closing. We are about to be ending this out. But before I close, let's do a little recap real quick, right? They earned it, so why are we making them wait? So I'm closing episode 2. But there's one thing that I want to do before I close this, because let me go on TikTok, because TikTok has been showing a lot of love over there, and I want to read some of the comments real quick. And let me see if it's showing the let me see. Let me see real quick. Okay, so over here on TikTok real quick, right? We got let me make sure I read it correctly. Mateo, we got Mateo. So Mateo, you know, she said like this, and I definitely agree. You know, first of all, so if they earned it, so are we making if they earned it, he like say, let me read how he said. So, you know, my take is that we are weakening the contingency. You know, I definitely, you know, agree, and that's why I started off kind of like saying that we're gonna be very careful of that we don't lose reinforcement power. And she even went more in depth and explained it like this. So if the learner gets reinforcement for completing the task, then reinforcement should be delivered right after completion of the task. Making them wait to teach tolerance should be run as a separate program. That's my understanding as a behavior technician with years experience. Man, shout out, you know what I mean, to Mateo, you know, RBT, and she is making that leap to become a BCBA. So you guys definitely root her on as she's taking that leap, you know, to become that master frog. I appreciate, you know, definitely the comments there. It will be more, you know, episodes. Get in where you at, and let's go. That pretty much concludes our double RBT Tuesdays. That concludes our double RBT concludes our double RBT Tuesdays. All right, let me see. Close that so we can see. All right. Highly matters. We say that again. If I'm How to be set of forces in it. Sometimes but now it's really reinforcing. I reinforcing. I mean, a certain amount of trials and they were able to now tells him, dad tells him to Walgreens to for. We're teaching. It's right here. Whoa. Whoa. My bullfrogs, my frog masters, to some of the concepts behind these conversations. Talk about reinforcement delay reinforcement, spinning, which is, all part of it, tolerance, functional communication. Very well. Having some much bigger critical conversation. Somebody did. I must have known what it is. I can do it. Behaviors were being targeted from what what's the government was telling us that it's human. Very important, guys. It's very important. The time goes good. You know. How Ayye feel like I'm seeing what why we're having this. That's why we're having this discussion. No. Perspective. So, two flaws. You've never been told to make a learner wait. What? So, I can, I'm in a situation where sometimes, they're just like probing in that moment. The responses, and something of a program, they have to observe something first. So before they can start not just the we're talking about also there seeing people start by same program was being looked at, changes, seeing these. But not at the same time. Our both may see a woman. Program, vision, so me about delivering people when we first entered the field, right? Yeah. Of course it is. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no. Hey. No. Oh, y'all, I did not end the stream. I see what's going on. We didn't end the stream, y'all. But what we gonna do, we're gonna end the stream now. But I could check something.